Aloha, I'm Jen Boniza. Welcome to a special edition of Hawaiian Extreme Sports TV. Today's show is all about one of the most scenic marathons in the world. Of course, we're talking about the Kauai Marathon. This unique full and half course marathon takes elite and fun-loving runners from all over the world around what many describe as the most beautiful run events on Earth. At this multi-day event, over 1,700 runners signed up for the main race day in the 26-mile-long course and the 13-mile half-course divisions. And the South Shore of Kauai was transformed into a runner's paradise.
The Kauai Marathon for 2013 commences September 1st at 6 a.m. on the island of Kauai. We have a full marathon, we have a half marathon. They both start together and they both finish together, which is very unusual. The full marathon, we have about 400 participants this year, and in the half marathon we have about 1,300 participants this year. We finish at the Sheraton Kauai on the beach there, and it turns into a big party. We also do, for the starting line, a full breakfast with fruit and pastries, danishes, orange juice. It's just an incredible vibe and an incredible event.
The Kauai Marathon takes place, starts off real early in the morning, 6 a.m. near the Poipu shopping village. Heads east towards Bypass Road, and they head towards the tunnel of trees, make their way up 5 miles, 6 miles, 7, and they work their way to the highway. And then down Omau Road, kind of a sweeping turns up and down. And off of Omau Road, the full marathoners head towards Lawai Cannery. And then they start working the hills up to Kalaheo, around the golf course. And then they start to work their way back, and it's kind of an out and back from that point. And then they start to see the ocean, and that's their finish line. They finish near the Sheraton, right along the ocean front. It's a beautiful finish line.
Yeah, you know, I've been very fortunate to run races literally all over the world, from the Arctic Circle to Antarctica to Mount Everest Base Camp. I mean, I could go on and on, but one of my favorite running experiences every year is to come to the Kauai Marathon.
You're running in one of the most beautiful islands in the world, and you're going to get the best food, the best treatment, and we like to think we define this race with the true aloha spirit.
Has 40 of the U.S. states represented and 13 countries that are represented. This shows how One, the Garden Isle is a beautiful island, so people are going to come here as a tourist destination, and tying the race in is great. But the race itself, there's a great vibe about how much fun it is. The people who put on the race are great.
A lot of the people that I've spoken to here, you know, they're on vacation, they've come from a long way. I came from New York City. I've met some people who've come from, you know, all over the world, the West Coast, and some people here on the island who are doing it. And I think everyone is just excited. It's definitely a fun time vibe.
This island is paradise. The race is just so much fun. It's just a fun weekend. It's not only just race day, it's all the fun I have with the runners 2 days before the race, the day before the race. We do these little shakeout runs.
At the end of last year, the race staff asked me to help organize the Keiki run, and I took it a step further and asked my shoe company, Newton Running, if they'd be interested in donating some shoes to the kids on the island. And they got behind it, the Kauai Marathon got behind it. Over 170 kids out there running. And it was a very special moment for all those kids. Everyone got a t-shirt and a medal, and just the purity of the sport of kids running hard and having fun.
Fun Run was meant to be something like the Keiki Run in that it's open to the public. It's something anyone from Kauai can do. So if you're not ready for a half marathon, then you can come out to the Fun Run, which is always Saturday, the day before the event. Run with Bart, run with Dean, and enjoy just a nice, easy 3-mile pre-race run.
What a sight. Full and half course runners all lined up together at the break of dawn. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The 2013 Kauai Marathon is made possible in part by the Hawaii Tourism Authority, the Kauai Visitors Bureau, County of Kauai, Grand Hyatt Kauai, Fresh Point, and Kauai Coffee. Welcome back. With the sun slowly rising over the hills of Poipu, both full and half course runners are passing first aid stations and passing mile 4, leading up to the beautiful climb into the tunnel of trees. This is where runners start to find their pace and the field slowly begins to define itself. Half course runners can be identified by their 4-digit numbers, and full course runners are wearing 3-digit tags.
The mind changes during the event. In the beginning, I'm enjoying it. It's right at sunrise. It feels relatively cool when you start. You're running uphill through the tunnel of trees. I hope to be running with a group of guys and just kind of out on a Sunday long run. And then as the race goes on, you start building this competitive fire in you. And eventually at a point in the race, you decide, all right, it's time to make this into a race.
One of the biggest things that I have to do in a race when I'm out with other elite women is not to try to run with them, but to run my own race. So I think if I've got someone who's pushing me and we're competing during the race, I just need to focus on myself.
When you're racing somebody, you're looking and listening to cues. And then if I test them and I know they're not as fit, I'll look for a point in the race when I feel like I can expand upon that weakness and go for it, go for the throw.
In the early miles, it's more physical than mental. In the closing miles and the later miles, it's so much more mental than physical.
If you're not physically fit, you're not going to be able to run well. But once you get here and the gun goes off, the mental preparation is the most important. If you're mentally tough, you can compete to a higher level, and especially with these hills, they can break you. And if you can be strong and not let it break you, that's when special things happen.
I actually look forward to that point in the race where, things start going wrong and things get tough, and then you have to dig down and decide if you want to do it or you want to bail. And that's, to me, what it's all about is, finding that point and then pushing through it.
The most important part of the course, I would say, is actually the first 10 miles because you can make a lot of mistakes going too hard. And the hills from about 10.8 to the 22-mile mark is what can really get you.
I always remind myself, culturally, how lucky we are to do this, physically, how lucky I am to be able to do this, and then just take in the natural scenery, and I forget all those bad patches and all that trouble out there.
The Kauai Marathon is definitely a unique course. Between the beauty of the landscape and the challenges of the terrain, runners really have to look inward to find their perfect balance of pace and performance. We'll be right back. The 2013 Kauai Marathon is made possible in part by the Hawaii Tourism Authority, the Kauai Visitors Bureau, County of Kauai, Grand Hyatt Kauai, Fresh Point, and Kauai Coffee. With top runners passing the midpoint in the full marathon, top half-course runners were reaching the final stretch towards the beautiful finish line on the beach at Poipu. So just 1 hour into the race, for some, it would be all over soon. But for others, the real challenges still lie ahead. What a beautiful finish for the half-course runners. In the men's division, Kevin Fong at 1 hour 23 minutes and 20 seconds. And in the women's half-course division, Lauren Tippett's, also from California, at 1 hour 26 minutes and 9 seconds. Meanwhile, Tyler McCandless from Colorado was securing a solid lead in the men's full-course elite division, and Nicole Shear, also from Colorado, in the women's elite division, was opening the gap on second place, Brooke Sugahara from Kauai.
Going on the course, and when you're on the backside, you're just running through these neighborhoods and there's people out and they're holding their kids, and it's a part of Kauai that you might not normally see if you're just going to the resorts. And that's why I love racing all over the world, because you get a little slice of what somebody's existence is.
We just love having the marathon come through this route, and we love seeing all of them running through here and stuff. We stay here from the start until the end because we just enjoy all the marathon people running through past our house.
All right! Woohoo! Kauai Marathon!
The Grand Hyatt Kauai Speed Challenge is where we put up $15,000. For the men, they must run under the course record, which is Tyler McCandless' course record of 2:23:21. For the women, the time is set at 2:45. Any woman that runs under that can have a portion of that same $15,000.
you're not just out there sitting and kicking on each other, you're running hard from the start and you're going after that time, but you're competing against your fellow competitors as well.
But believe me, these elite runners, they know the exact pace to the second what it is to break that time, and they're very cognizant when they're out there of the pace they're running. So if they're on that edge, that's incentives to pick it up and run faster than you thought possible and get that extra bonus money.
The elite runners were really giving it their all, and with a possible $15,000 prize purse for runners potentially breaking the course record, the pace was incredibly fast. Welcome back. One of the unique features of Hawaiian weather are the short period trade showers. For marathon runners, these are a welcome way to cool down and divert the competitive pain. And with top runners quickly approaching the intersection where they rejoin with the main pack of the half course runners, the action becomes intense.
You know, they talk about this wall in marathon running, this wall that you hit 20 miles and all of a sudden there's a wall there and you slow down. And there is no such thing as a wall in marathon running. If you hit a wall, you created the wall by starting out too quickly or not hydrating yourself. If you run a smart race and take care of your body, there is no such thing as a wall.
But also a positive mental attitude helps. Stay in the mile that you're in and draw energy and inspiration from where you are in that moment. And before you know it, you are at the finish line.
You do a marathon, everything else in your life is going to become easier because you learn so many lessons in running a marathon, so many lessons about yourself. So you can use that in all facets of your life, everything that's a challenge.
I am focused on one thing the entire time, and that is crossing that finish line. And in my life, as I'm sure in many of your lives, it's frenetic. I mean, we're getting bombarded with text, and you know, my kids are calling me, they need this and that, and there's advertisements, and there's billboards, and the marathon is one time where you just blank all that stuff out, and you just focus on one thing. And to me, that's kind of cleansing. There's almost a certain zen in that, because it's rare that we spend that much time really focused just on one thing. And that's how I run my marathons.
The last 2 miles of the race, coming off of Kaloa Road, you can start to see the ocean, and you know that you're getting closer and closer. And you get down to this volcanic rock wall, and you've got a quarter mile to go.
You got the waves crashing, you got the turtles, and you got the finish line right there.
Everybody has a reason and a cause for running. And what amazes me is, you know, people come up to me at the finish line crying emotionally that they lost 400 pounds. Or they're running for their mom who has cancer. I mean, there's always events that take place this weekend that have me in tears a lot of times.
I'm running in memory of my brother, Ricky Bates, who passed away in January. He was born with a disease called AT, and he passed away due to stomach cancer.
I ran 52 marathons in 52 weeks, in honor of my father who passed away from pancreatic cancer. And I ran these marathons to raise funds and awareness for research so we could find a cure for this devastating disease.
What an incredible event. The course, the beauty, the challenges, and the finish. Congratulations go out to Nicole Shear of Colorado in the Women's Elite Division with a time of 3 hours and 32 seconds. And to Tyler McCandless, also of Colorado, for smoking his own course record with an incredible 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 8 seconds, and earning himself a cool $15,000 in cash. For complete race results, you can check it out at thekawaimarathon.com. That's all the time that we have on today's show. If you missed any of the action, you can always friend us on Facebook at Hawaiian Extreme Sports TV. Mahalo for joining us. I'm Jen Boniza, and I'll see you next time on Hawaiian Extreme Sports TV. Aloha.